I'm a chemist. We can go to my lab after this and you can see how it works. So I just wanted to tell you that you're wrong. I'm a chemist. I'm a grad student, so I'm, I guess, older than some people here. I had first a comment and then a follow-up question related to that comment. You're on record as saying that there has not been any measurable global warming in the past 15 to 20 years. You've also demonstrated an appreciation for facts. That is not a fact. There has been measurable global warming. I'm a chemist. We can go to my lab after this and you can see how it works. So I just wanted to tell you that you're wrong. So related to that, you've also been on record as saying that climate action threatens manufacturing jobs. And, we can debate about whether or not that's true. But related to that, you have to admit that automation also poses a huge threat to manufacturing jobs. And so my question is, have you given any thought about how to curb that threat to automation? And I don't think it's necessarily as, apocalyptic as, say, Andrew Yang. I think, but certainly within my lifetime, I think it does pose a threat to those manufacturing jobs. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts about that.
Well, I think the part of it is going to be education at all different levels, whether it's higher education at 4-year or beyond universities or campuses, but I also think particularly 2-year, and our technical and community college component out there, as well as apprenticeships and others. There's no way we're going to completely stop there any form of automation, but what we need to do is give people the skills to be more involved in that, and ideally to make better wages off of places that do use that. You can't just block. Otherwise we'll end up seeing that being offshored or put into other countries. I don't want that either. And on your first part, I have to go back and look. I've said some things about climate issue. I don't particularly remember that quote, but I have been skeptical of some parts of it. But last October in the campaign, I wasn't talking about climate change at all. So maybe that's one of those examples where someone created a quote out of something else. But that aside, whether we did or didn't, I would just say for you or anybody else who clapped who wants people to be engaged in this, the best way to not get people right of center, to not pay attention to this issue, is to attack them. Because what do people do? They pull back. Whereas say, what are areas where we have common ground on? What are areas that we're concerned about? And I'll tell you, despite what many in the rhetorical left, be it on social media or TV or others say, at least about me, is, as you heard me tonight acknowledge, I think there are things that humans have done that affect poorly on the environment. And I think there are things we can do. And they may not be exactly the same things you would advocate, although I think some of the things I talked about a little tonight might be things that you would advocate. You might advocate more or doing it slightly differently. But I think if we're going to be serious about this and not just have this big gap between those who say, oh, you're either 100% for everything that we say in climate change or you're just a climate denier, and then people saying, oh, they're just pushing for ending all these jobs. I think the reality is somewhere in between. There are things that we can do that are reasonable. There are things that we can do to improve our circumstances. And I would just add, it goes in a little bit in your automation argument. If you look at trade deals, not just in terms of the impact on automation, I would argue, if you look at China and India, for example, we're going to have trade deals with them in the future. We should put in place enforceable things that make sure that they have to live by the same standards that we do in America right now, let alone in the future. Because I don't think that's being enforced very well right now, and that has an impact both on the environment and on American workers.